show the way. Danny Dice is here to play. Come along with me, there's so much to see. Let's all watch the Gamers of This.
Hockey's back! I can't even begin to tell you how happy this makes me. I am a huge hockey fan. I've loved the game ever since I was in my community iceless hockey league. That is until high school, when boys aren't allowed to play anymore. Stupid testosterone, causing fights. But that's when I got into professional hockey, and all was well. Like a true Chicagoan, I rooted for the Blackhawks. Also like a true Chicagoan, I was upset that the owner of the Blackhawks at the time, Bill Wirtz, wouldn't allow his team's home games to be aired on TV for fear of losing ticket sales. Little did he know that attendance was low because of that very reason! Airing your games on TV is free advertising! It gets fans riled up and wanting to sometimes be a part of the excitement they see on the tube! Yeah! Woo! But I digress. The happy ending to this story is that after Bill died, his son Rocky took over and put the games back on the air in time for Chicago to see their boys win the Stanley Cup. Ha! Eat it, Olympics! Nobody wants to see you when there's pro hockey on TV. Oh, you have hockey too? Okay, Olympics, you're alright. So what's the point of all this? Well, back when TV was devoid of hockey, I had to get my fix some other way. That's where these games come in. May I present to you Powerplay and official NHL All-Pro Hockey. Two games with the same subject matter that behave very differently. First, let's take a look at Powerplay. This game isn't actually licensed or related to pro hockey at all. It's just an adaptation of the generic game of hockey. The board is laid out like a real arena, divided into squares for the pieces to move. Actually, it bears a striking resemblance to the board from All-Pro Hockey, even down to the goal lanes. The similarities in design end there, though. Powerplay uses game pieces that are vaguely reminiscent of actual players. I think they look more like mini abstract statues or mountains if you ask me. Hey, that'd be something to see, wouldn't it? Ice hockey played by rock golems. If only. All-Pro Hockey goes the more traditional route of using discs to represent the players. These differences in design are practical in both games for different reasons, as All-Pro Hockey uses an actual puck and passing mechanics, while Powerplay opts to be more like chess, with the puck always being held by all the players simultaneously. I'll explain. In Powerplay, you have the ability to set up your pieces however you want, as long as there are two placed in front of your blue line, two placed in back, and one in the face-off circle. The game is played by drawing cards. Whichever color comes up is the player who moves that number of spaces. This adds a bit of randomness to the game, as there could be streaks of one player moving for a while before the other player even has a chance to defend. With this in mind, it's beneficial to place your back players in such a way that it makes it harder for your opponent to score, should you find yourself stuck with nowhere to go. Scoring is done using the scoring lanes. When a player is in a scoring lane, there are two ways of making the goal. The first is with movement. If a card comes up with the offending player's color and the proper number, they move their player to the opposing net and score, so long as there are no defending players or the goalie in the way. This is why it's a good strategy to attack your opponent's goal with multiple players. In this example, there's a black player on the 3 and the 4 of the lanes. All that needs to happen for a goal is for a black 3 or 4 to be drawn. A 5 or 6 would not count. If the opposing player is in the scoring lanes and their color's goal card is drawn, they score automatically, regardless of distance, provided there are no obstructions in the way. Players can be checked as a means of interference. To check someone, simply land on them at the end of your movement. If you check an opponent in your own attacking zone, they are sent to the edge of the blue line. If you check an opponent anywhere else on the board, you move their piece 2 spaces in any direction. After the deck runs out, the period ends. The last player moves, and the board is reset for another face-off. Then the deck is shuffled, and play begins anew. The game plays for 3 periods, just like in regular hockey. Compare this to how All-Pro Hockey is played. In this game, the board is set up the exact same way for every face-off. Instead of drawing cards, players roll a die. Whoever gets the higher number wins the face-off. Players then make 10 moves however they want between all their players. Diagonal movement is allowed, and passing the puck counts as a move. Once the first player has moved, it's the other player's turn to take 10 moves. The game ends after 3 20-minute periods. I like to use my iPad as a timer. Scoring is done by entering the scoring lanes. Once the player announces their score attempt, the goalie has the opportunity to move into blocking position. This behooves the attacker to bring 2 or more players in for a goal in order to pass the puck if necessary. The attacker then rolls a die. Just as in Powerplay, if the player with the puck, either originally or from passing, can enter the net using the rolled number, the goal is scored. If not, the goalie intercepts and passes the puck to the nearest teammate. Another way of stealing the puck is to stop next to the player with the puck. The attacker rolls a die. On a 1 or a 6, they steal the puck and reset their moves back to 10. If not, they must try with another player. This method of play is a lot faster paced, especially when you consider bouncing the puck off a wall in order to make a pass. Because of this, greater distances can be covered in faster time. However, to prevent the unfairness of passing all the way to the far side of the ice, the real hockey rule of offsides is in effect. A player cannot enter the opponent's attacking zone before the puck. If the opposing team ever steals the puck, the defenders must vacate the attacking zone before ever re-entering with the puck. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Well, this leads into penalties and checking. Checking in All-Pro hockey is when a player sits on top of an opposing player. During their opponent's next turn, they cannot move any of their checked players. On the first player's turn, however, they must move off the checked players before doing anything else. If they fail to do so, they receive a penalty. Compare this to penalties in Powerplay. If 2 like-even numbers are drawn, the color of the second card gets the penalty. After every move, the player in the penalty box moves up 1 space until they're out. Then, they can move as a normal player. So that's Powerplay versus All-Pro hockey. If I had to choose between one or the other, I'd go with All-Pro hockey. I do like both, but I like that one a little better because it is more strategic, faster paced, and a bit more exciting than the other one. The thing is that it's hard to find a complete set. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many eBay listings I had to go through just to find one with an instruction book. Because of that, I'm going to scan my instruction book and put it on BoardGameGeek. Hopefully it'll serve you well. I'm the Cartographer. Join us next time as we map out more secrets of the board and card game world on the Gamer's Atlas. A little birdie told me if you follow me on Twitter, all your dreams will come true. I think it's worth a shot. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, why not subscribe?